Hey, what's up guys, Rev here. So today we're going to cover more updates regarding the Sweet Baby Inc. situation. But first, for both context behind a portion of today's video as well as for your own personal knowledge, I have some bad news to share with you. Last night it was announced that the legendary creator of Dragon Ball, Akira Toriyama, has passed away at the age of 68. This is obviously very upsetting news for countless people across the world, as his works have connected with so many, including millions of people in the West like myself, whose earliest exposure to anime can be traced back to series like Dragon Ball. While I haven't followed the series or Toriyama's work as closely over the recent years, at least compared to others, anyone can acknowledge the almost inhuman level of contributions he provided to multiple mediums. Having said that, this is the internet. In moments like these, there's always going to be some people ready to sully the name of another person in an attempt for clout or to make some ridiculous hot take. And we saw that happen with who else but an employee of Sweet Baby Inc. The same employee responsible for launching the harassment campaign against the Steam group Sweet Baby Inc. detected and its creator. Well, after unprivating their account shortly after they made this tweet, not even 24 hours after the announcement of Toriyama's death, essentially saying that he did a bad job in terms of representation in the series that he created. To hear this from a Sweet Baby Inc. employee is both frustrating and also somewhat poetic, because they fail to realize why Toriyama's works were so successful. It's a bit of a meme on social media, but it rings true. The Dragon Ball fanbase is one of the most diverse you will ever see. It's one of the very few things that people of any color or any background can seem to enjoy collectively. And why does that story connect so well with people? Well, it has nothing to do with the color of the characters, but everything to do with the story and the content of those characters. Toriyama created a story that connected with a global audience. Sweet Baby Inc. and their ilk don't create, rather they twist, pander, and force characters and stories to mold to their agenda. But in the end, unlike the works of Toriyama, they end up connecting with no one. And if you want something to cheer you up, at least momentarily, for a short period, this Sweet Baby Inc. employee was suspended, but about 30 minutes later, they would return to their account where they would also go private mode and basically go back into hiding, which seems like the smart thing to do since they can't seem to stop making bad tweets. But moving forward, we return to Alyssa. The senior editor at Kotaku recently wrote an article about this Sweet Baby Inc. situation. Now, what have they been up to? Well, one of the things they've done is repost that message from the Sweet Baby Inc. employee going after Toriyama, showing support for that message. And also, as we have continued, yesterday we went over the article that she posted about the Sweet Baby Inc. situation, and one of the big problems is that in the replies to that tweet sharing the article, she said you can't be racist against white people, which drew even more criticism, and a community note basically disproving what she's trying to claim. And what has she done in response to this criticism? Well, she made that quote her banner on Twitter. Yes, very mature person, as you can tell. Well, as it turns out, that's not the first time that Alyssa has had a very strange Twitter banner. As reported by Grums here, only a few months ago, she falsely accused someone else of being a transphobe, which ended up being her banner on Twitter, a quote saying, Gina Carano responds to Kotaku senior editor that claimed she was a transphobe, and in quotes, the person who posted this is hot, which is supposed to be referring to Alyssa, but as it turns out, that's just a narcissistic edit, because this is the actual quote where it says, the person who posted this is sad. And this is something that Alyssa celebrated on Twitter and routinely falsely accused this person of being a transphobe and tries to take credit for changes made to The Mandalorian because of her work. Very immature stuff, but what has Alyssa also been up to? Well, she's reporting that on International Women's Day, she has received dozens of emails like this and dozens more threats, where of course she's trying to paint the recent criticism that she's facing on the fact that she's a woman, which of course, none of this has to do with the fact that Alyssa is a woman. No one cares that she's a woman. We just care about the racist comments that she has made, and also her absolutely terrible article defending Sweet Baby Inc. and those like them. Well, also a lot of people are criticizing this supposed proof of the threats she's getting because, as you can see, all sort of personal identifying information like the name and time of this email have been conveniently cropped out. And this is something that was pointed out in the replies. This user saying, "Where's the timestamps and sender info?" Where Alyssa replies, "Oh girl, they're not gonna love you." Referring to the fact that this is a black woman making this reply, and Alyssa's essentially saying that you're like a pick-me because you're trying to question her proof of these supposed death threats. Yeah, seems a little bit of an odd thing for the inclusion and diversity oriented person like Alyssa to be saying here. But anyways, we continue. As stated yesterday, Kotaku was the first set of gaming journalists to come out and make a statement on the Sweet Baby Inc. situation. And of course, other gaming journalists saw this as an opportunity to get more Gamergate related clicks, where they would make their articles, including from Eurogamer. And I would go over this article, but I don't think anyone actually cares, and it's pretty evident by this tweet. An account with an immense level of following, and I took this screenshot about 12 hours after it was posted, and it had 32 likes. I just don't think anyone cares about Eurogamer, to be honest with you. But a lot of people were talking about PC Gamer and their attempt to smear everyone criticizing Sweet Baby Inc. And I think the whole article can be summed up by this completely disingenuous section right here. It says, "The situation grew in scale as some Sweet Baby employees, frustrated at the idea of a curated list specifically made to avoid games they had worked on, acknowledged the group on social media. While the tweet has been removed, one employee also discovered and shared the group's curator's Twitter account." And of course, they don't mention what was said in that set of tweets, and they don't show it. Well, here's what those tweets were. They were targeted harassment that likely were the reason that this account got in trouble, where they directed their followers to falsely report and harass this Steam group as well as its creator. But when you look at the author of this PC Gamer article, doesn't it all just add up? And you know what? Maybe I'm just being a completely ridiculous person, but like, why do these people point out that like they're pansexual in their Twitter bio? Like, is this a dating website or something? Like, why is this relevant to anything? Why do I need to know this about you? I don't care, and a lot of people don't care, but it's just kind of goofy. Like I said, it's like, what is this, a dating service or something? It's very strange. But moving forward, that wasn't the only person in the industry who was coming out to defend everyone involved with this situation. We have this individual saying that they are super excited to announce that they are now the lead narrative designer and working on the Black Panther game. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Well, what do they have to say about this situation? Well, they come out and say, side note, you guys do know that community notes can be added by anyone, right? I can add a community note to this post right now saying this screenshot isn't real, and it can be seen by literally everyone. No, that's not how the community note functions. You have to get upvotes in order to be actually passed and the note to be made public. Yes, people who apply can make any note, but that doesn't mean it's going to get approved. And in this case, this note got approved, and here we are multiple days later, and it's still up, despite, I'm sure, many people in this circle here trying to downvote that community note. But it's very telling to see another member of the industry get upset about this note. And going forward, this relates a lot to another game writer, the narrative director on the Wolverine game that is upcoming. We talked about this individual in my previous video because they supported another game designer by the name of Osama. This is a person who, in one of the replies of this game, this narrative writer replied saying, "You can't be racist to whites, period." Where, of course, this game writer, Mary Kenny, would like that tweet. Well, their support has continued. Since then, they have retweeted this absolute stinker from Osama, where it says, "Racism is systematic oppression by definition," with a Merriam-Webster dictionary link right here. "White people are not systematically oppressed. It's not possible to be racist to white people. It is possible to be bigoted towards white people. These two things are not the same." First off, what you're saying is, no, I'm not a racist, I'm just a bigot. Is that what you want to go with? Is that your final answer on this situation? It's so embarrassing. But as people have pointed out, it's like this guy didn't even click on the link that he shared. Because if you go into the first definition, it includes one that would capture white people as well. And if you look at other definitions of racism, even if you plug it into Google, you will get other definitions from Oxford, for example, that clearly include white people as a target of racism. It's just an embarrassing tweet, and it's something that Mary Kenny has shared, and once again, like many of these other people involved, has gone private. And like I pointed out in my previous video, aren't you a bit concerned that the narrative writer or narrative director for Wolverine has such a hatred towards white people, and yet the main character of that game is a white person? Isn't that concerning about the quality of that game? That somehow their beliefs are going to bleed over into their work? It seems like a very likely concern and rational concern to have based on these circumstances. But again, let's just pause. Everyone pause for a second, and let's just remember where we are. What is going on? We're getting into a million conversations about racism, the definition of racism, and what can be racism and what isn't. But this all began with Sweet Baby Inc., a curation list right here that now has passed over 200,000 followers on Steam. But this is a group. All it's doing is tracking games publicly listed as clients by Sweet Baby Inc. Not to mention the fact that all these claims that this group is racist, it seems pretty odd and seems like a reach when the creator is a Brazilian man. It's all so ridiculous. And we reported this yesterday that there is a movement going around. There was a big concern that a lot of reports were being made against this Steam group, and some people were concerned that it might get taken down. And this was something that was directly addressed on stream by the creator of the Steam group, Cabrutus, and as you can see, it was a pretty dire situation there for a moment.
I have received a warning on Steam that if I don't take actions on resolving this report, the group could be taken down. So I mean, I have all my moderator staff looking into it right now. What do I need to do? I need to resolve the reports, every single one of them. There are more than 1,000 of them. So yeah, all my moderators are working on them right now. Problem is, Steam is kind of bugging, so there are some reports that they are solving that they cannot delete.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to share with you this message from Cabrutus stating, "It is with great pride that I say based Valve. Thank you, Valve Software, for respecting your players' freedom of choice." And of course, here's a message from Steam saying, "Hi, no worries. We'll be glad to assist you because we have provided all of the information we have for your issue. I'm closing this help request. If you have an unrelated issue, please open a new help request and we will be happy to help." So it looks like Steam support has come through. Now, I'm not exactly exonerating Valve forever. They have plenty of other things that they need to do better. But in this case, I have to say I'm very delightfully impressed with the way that they handled the situation. And all I can say is good on them for sticking up for gamers. And as Cabrutus says, the player's freedom of choice. We should be informed on what games companies like Sweet Baby Inc. are working on. That is not hurting anyone. It's simply informing a potential customer that they're involved in a game that they might have interest in obtaining. But overall, that's where we're at with the situation for now. I'm sure it's going to continue. Now, what is the solution to avoid Gamergate 2.0 or the ongoing Gamergate, since it really never ended, since these people have been doing this stuff behind the scenes this whole time? But anyways, how does this stop? Well, I think it stops by simply taking accountability. All Sweet Baby Inc. has to do is come out and say, these statements by our employees are not good, we don't stand by them, and we're going to punish them, let them go, whatever. And then just move on. And these gaming journalists stop making articles. Bing, bang, boom, this situation is likely going to die down within a day or two. But that's not what's happening. And it's being carried on largely by gaming journalists at this point. And I don't see it stopping because they can't stop tweeting. They keep making things worse. I feel like these gaming journalists, at least for many years, have not been paid attention to. And now gamers have a laser point on them. And they're watching everything they say and tweet. And it's getting made fun of and called out, and it's not to their benefit, and it's making the situation a lot worse. But for now, that is the situation. I'm sure something crazy will happen in the next hour of this video going live, but that's just the way it is. And I'll have to report on whatever happens in the next one. But for now, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. As always, share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next time.